Hi, hello, good evening, friends, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, we will discuss a few fundamentals and definitions of electrical circuits. Today's date is 1st July 2024. Right? Now, when you come across the electrical circuits, the basic concept starts from the definition called network and followed by circuit, then node, then followed by junction point, path, closed path, loop. Yes. Right? Now, if you see one by one, when you want to define network in normal language, in general sense, network means generally when we talk with others, we may say that you have so much of network. That means in that sense, at that particular situation, the sense is you have more number of connections, more number of what you call a circle, more number of relations. So similarly, here when it comes to electrical terminology, network means it's a combination of more than one connection. It's a combination of more than one connection, or it is a combination of more than one component. So it's a assembling of different type of combinations or different type of components put together. So for example, a resistor, inductor, and capacitor. Right? Network may or may not have sources. Network may or may not have sources. Right? Whereas when you want to define circuit, if the network is driven by some source, if the network is driven by some source or energy, then this network can be transformed into circuit. For example, this is a network, and if you can able to provide here power supply, either voltage or current power supply, current source or voltage source, then this can be called as a circuit. That means network is a combination of various components which may or may not have the sources. But when you want to call or when you want to define a circuit, that must have sources, maybe voltage source or a current source. Okay, that means all the circuits can be called as networks, but all the networks cannot be called as a circuit. So that is a small discrimination or a thin line between network and a circuit. Now, when it comes to node, let me take another little more complex circuit so that we can define all these parameters or definitions. Right? Now, this is a simple electrical circuit having 5 resistors, 5 passive elements, and 1 active element, that is voltage source. Now, let me pick the connecting points. Now let's go back to the definition of node. Node is nothing but a connecting point or a meeting point of more than or equal to two components. That means node must consist greater than or equal to two components or connections. For example, here you can say how many nodes are there. A is one node, B is one node, C is one node, D is one node, E is one node. That means there are totally 5 nodes available in this particular electrical circuit. Okay. So see, in simple language, what is a node means? Node is nothing but a meeting point of more than or equal to two components or connections. Here A is connecting 2 components, B is connecting 3 components, C is connecting 2 components, D is connecting 2 components, and E is connecting 3 components, right? So since it is having more than or equal to 2 components, we can say all the nodes, all the meeting points of identified meeting points in this electrical circuit can be referred to as nodes. Whereas there is a small change in the junction point. Junction point is nothing but a meeting point of more than or equal to 3 connections or components. Junction point shall have more than or equal to 3 components or connections. Okay, that means in this particular electrical circuit, we cannot call A as a junction point. We cannot call C as a junction point. We cannot call D as a junction point. That means A, C, D are not junction points. What is the reason? Because A is connecting only 2 components and C is having only 2 connections. D is also having only 2 connections. Whereas leaving the A, C, D, the rest of the 2, that is B and E, can be called as junction points. The reason is D is having 3 connections. It is connecting 3 components, R1, R2, R3. And E is also can be termed as junction point because it is connecting again 3 components, that is V, R2 and R4. Therefore, junction points in this particular electrical circuits are only 2, that is B and E. Right? Now, next coming to 5th one. Generally, what is a path means the way. So, in our electrical terminology, path can be defined as it is a connecting way or connection between 2 components. Connection between any 2 components can be called as a path. Connection between any 2 components can be called as a path. Here I think AB is one path, BC is one path, CD is one path, D is one path, E is also one path. Right? You may ask a question, sir, why this is also E, this is also E. Why? Because in this particular way, there is no component. There is no component. Right? Therefore, we cannot take F here. Whatever the node that is existing here, the same will also exist here because there is no component. Whereas, if you look at the remaining things, for every change in the abbreviation, there is a intermediate component. Right? So, path is nothing but a connection between any 2 components. So AB is one path, BC is another path, CD, D and EA all are the paths. AB, BC, CD, DE, EA. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So all these 5 can be called as a paths, right? Now the 6th one is closed path. What is a closed path? The name says it is a path. That means it's a connection between any 2 components. It is a closed one. It is a closed one. That means the way should forward and come back and should end at the same point. That means the starting point and ending point of the path, if it is same, then that path can be called as a closed path. For example, if you look at here, let me draw this one. A, B, E, A. A, B, E, A. So that means A, B, E, A can be called as a closed path. Can be called as a closed path. Or what else can we find here? B, C, D, B, C, D, E, B. B, C, D, B, C, D, E, B is another closed path. What else? A, B, C, D, E, A. A, B, C, D, E, A. That is also closed path. So in this particular electrical circuit, we have three closed paths: A, B, E, A, B, C, D, E, B, A, B, C, D, E, A. Right? That means the starting point and ending point of the path must be same. Then that is called as a closed path, a closed one. Right? Now it comes to loop. I think once after we define the closed path, then there is no need to define separately what is a loop means. But still I am writing why, because we have to define separately what is a closed path and what is a loop. Right? Loop is nothing but what? Loop means what? Actually same thing. It's a starting point and ending point must be same. It's a closed one. The closed path can also be called as a loop. The closed path can also be called as a loop. Right? So I think closed path and loop are almost one and the same. There is not that much discrimination. Okay? Whereas, I mean, you may ask the question, then why to define this? But loop is a, what we call a meaningful closed path can be called as a loop. A meaningful closed path can be called as a loop. Loop closed path can be of anything. The only thing you have to see is that starting point and ending point must be same. But if that closed path is of meaningful one, then we can refer it as a closed loop. Right? Now the last one is mesh. What is a mesh? Mesh is a loop. Mesh is a loop. Okay, before that, you again write down what are the number of loops available. There are three loops. First one, A, B, E, A. Second one, B, C, D, E, B. Third one, A, B, C, D, E, A. So these are the three loops. Now when it comes to mesh, it is also very simple. Mesh is a loop. Mesh is a loop which cannot be divided further. Mesh is a loop which cannot be divided further. That means in this particular electrical circuit, there are three loops. One is A, B, E, A. Second one is B, C, D, E, B. Third one is A, B, C, D, A. If you look at A, B, E, A, B, E, A, sorry, A, B, E, A is a single one. We cannot break into again, two parts. There is no breaking. It's a single simple loop. B, C, D, E, B also single one. We cannot divide it further. Whereas, if you look at the third one, A, B, C, D, E, A. A, B, C, D, E, A. This can be divided into two loops. This bigger loop can be separated or broken, can be divided into subloops. What are the subloops again? That means A, B, A, B, C, D, E, A is having two loops. That is A, B, E, A. Second one is B, C, D, E, B. Okay. This is loop loop 1, loop 2, loop 3. So all are called as loops only. There is no doubt at all. Absolutely, they are loops. But out of these three, which can be termed as mesh? Now these two can be termed as mesh. This cannot be termed as mesh. What is the reason? Mesh is nothing but a loop which cannot be divided further. Which cannot be divided further. That means this cannot be divided further. So it can be called as either loop or a mesh. This cannot be divided further. So therefore, this can be called as either loop or mesh. Whereas this bigger loop can be divided into two subloops. So therefore, this cannot be called as a mesh. It can be called only as a loop. That means in this particular electrical circuit, there are three loops, but there are only two meshes. This is loop, this is loop, this is loop. So three loops are there, but this is only mesh 1 and this is only mesh 2. This cannot be called as mesh. That means all the meshes can be called as loops, but all the loops cannot be called as meshes. All the meshes can be called as a loops can be called as loops, whereas all the loops cannot be called as meshes. Here also same thing. All the junction points can be called as a node. All the junction points can be called as a nodes, but all the nodes cannot be called as a junction point. Right? So these are the basic fundamentals, fundamental definitions of electrical circuit. And in the next spell, we will see further more details. Thank you. And if you have not subscribed to my channel, please try to subscribe and press the bell icon so that whenever I upload the videos, you will come to know the prompt. Will come to know the prompt with the native notifications. And thanks for supporting. Please do support and please go to my videos. Please watch the video till the end. Share to your known contacts and let others to know. I'm not uploading these videos as if like you don't know all these things, but still, if someone wants to watch it and get the knowledge, they can please refer to my videos and upgrade their skills and knowledge. Thank you one and all.